This is it. It is the UEFA Europa League Final. And it is Spurs against United in the final. Now, it all comes down to this. It all comes down to this game. A game-defining season for a club like Manchester United, where we need to turn up, where we need to do things to show that we are worthy of winning. We have history. We have everything on our side right now. So, the stage is set at the iconic San Mamés Stadium, obviously, in Bilbao, where we've had one win already this season for the Europa League Final. Manchester United versus Tottenham Hotspur. Oh, most definitely. Now, it's not just a trophy in the line, but it's also redemption, reputation, and the route back into the Champions League. For Manchester United, it's a must-win clash to salvage the season and crown Rúben Amorim's early tenure with the silverware. And then Man United face a vibrant Spurs led by Ange Postecoglou, or Big Ange for short. Now, the truth is, if you look at it, Ange has transformed the side into one of the most attacking outfits in Europe, but only in Europe. Expect fireworks in this all-English showdown on Spanish soil. I mean, think about it. All-English showdown on Spanish soil, right? Now, for me, it is like the most important game of our season. And the truth is, we have to, take full responsibility. This is the time where the players need to show what they're really made of. This is the time for them to actually come through and actually, deliver a trophy. Even though it's been a horrible season, even though it's been a crap season, this is the time for them to deliver a trophy for Manchester United. Now, the truth is, I need you to let me know your thoughts and feelings about this game, what you expect of the game, what you expect of Man United in this situation, and if we can be able to deliver a trophy, a European trophy, even in our banter season or our banter era. That's the thing. So let's talk about this and let's break it down. And let's start with recent form and head-to-head, basically, between both teams. First and foremost, with recent form, Manchester United still remain the only unbeaten team in the Europa League, or in Europe, of all 72 teams that participated in this in the tournament. Man United remains the only unbeaten team in Europe. Now, Man United's run to the final has also been dramatic, yet very dominant. Now, sweeping aside Athletic Bilbao in the semi-final with a 7-1 aggregate win, since Rúben Amorim's side's arrival, United have looked more structured, fluid, and dangerous in transition. Confidence is high and the momentum is with Man United, right? Now, Tottenham, on the other hand, have impressed with their fierce and fearless attacking style under Ange Postecoglou. Now, they've played bold football. They've also kind of played it throughout the tournament. Under Postecoglou, they've played bold football, dismantling teams into with their fluid attacking and offensive patterns and tactical aggression. However, they've also been very vulnerable defensively, and this is something United needs to look to exploit, and that is up to Rúben Amorim in that regard. And that's what I think about the whole thing and how I believe that Manchester United should approach this game. Rúben Amorim needs to take charge of this game and deal with it, take it with the scruff of the neck and all of that, because that's the only way we can actually, defeat Spurs and define our season basically with this trophy. And there is also a catch to it, basically. The catch is we have a route to the Champions League, but we also play the Champions League winners in the UEFA Super Cup. So let me know if there's some feelings about this. Let me know if there's some feelings about the build-up, about what is expected, about how Manchester United should approach the game, and all of that. Now, with recent form, like I said, Man United have basically been unbeaten in Europe, while Tottenham Hotspurs have also had a good season and a good run in Europe and all of that. So let me know if there's some feelings. Let me know what you think about this. Now, if we're going to go into head-to-head and context, and then we'll also touch some stats with regards to form and everything in between, we will go from here. So basically, with regards to stats, Manchester United have had similar run or similar head-to-head basically with Spurs when it comes to stats. We've had a similar head-to-head with Spurs when it comes to stats. And if you look at it, we've played each other 192 times in the head-to-head. And we have, surprisingly, lost to Spurs in 3 out of 5 games, while winning 1 and while drawing the other 1. So in the last 5 games, we've lost to Spurs 4 times. That's what I can say. If you look at it, 1-0, 4-3, then we lost 3-0, and then drew 2-2, and then we lost 2-0 to Spurs. So the odds are in their favor in head-to-head against Manchester United. But the truth is, this is where things these players need to stand up for themselves and show what they're really made of. And then if we're going to go with, basically recent form, we both have similar recent forms in Europe. In our last 5 games, we've drawn 1, and then we've won all 4. And then obviously the games where both teams drew, it's the same game it's the same game that both teams drew around the same level. The first leg of the Europa League Final, Europa League quarterfinal between Man United and Lyon, and as for Spurs and Olympiacos. And then with regards to all competitions, horrendous. Man United have 2 wins in the last 5, and which is obviously 3 losses and 2 wins, while Spurs have 2 wins, 1 draw and 2 losses. So the odds are in their favor, and they are way better than us when it comes to stats alone, right? Then if we're going to go with with a tactical breakdown on how Spurs play, Ange Postecoglou's trying to get my words out. Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham are high risk, high reward team, right? They're high risk, high reward team. They build up play with inverted fullbacks, tucking into midfield, aiming to overload central areas and pull opponents out of shape. Their rotations and third man runs make them lethal in and around the box, especially in half spaces. Now, without the ball, Spurs press aggressively from the front, using a high line and compact structure to force errors. But this intensity often leaves them exposed to quick counters, especially when their fullbacks push high and their midfield presses forward. Right? Now, the key tactical features of Spurs is that they use inverted fullbacks for central superiority. They also use half space. They exploit half spaces and third man runs to disorganize defenses, and they use fluid movement in the final third. And then with their high line, high press, which is also another feature of their style of play, they aim to win the ball early. And then their vulnerabilities obviously is that counterattacks, wide overloads, and moments of defensive disorganization. But looking at their squad, especially in defense, they have a solid defense. And then if we're going to go with that, then it will now lead us to their predicted starting lineup for Spurs. I'm so nervous about this game, but it is what it is. So the predicted starting lineup for Spurs against Manchester United in the Europa League Final goes like Vicario in net. Then they have Christian Romero and Mickey van der Ven. That's why I said they have a very solid defensive line. Christian Romero and Mickey van der Ven. And then they have Udogie and Pedro Porro as their right and left backs, or left and right back, respectively. And then obviously Rodrigo Bentancur, Yves Bissouma, Papsa playing in the mid as the 3, maybe flat or flank or whatever they play, 1-6 and 2-10s or whatever. And then out wide we have Son on the left. In the middle we have Dominic Solanke, and then also Brennan Johnson as the winger, who is one player that I think he scored against Man United in one of the games that we played against them recently. Then if we're to go by their key player, the key player for Spurs against Manchester United is obviously Heung-min Son. Heung-min Son has played 45 games this season, surprisingly, over 3,000 minutes, and he has 11 goals, 11 assists, all competitions. Obviously he hasn't scored in the last 5 games, but 32-year-old has been a key man for Spurs. Even though Dominic Solanke has good goal scoring record, Brennan Johnson surprisingly has 17 goals, all competition. But it is what it is. Now, even speaking of head to head, this is the first ever European final between these two English sides. Manchester United boast more English European pedigree, while Spurs are seeking their first ever major trophy, European title, since 1984. But in recent domestic meetings, as I said, it's been an even contest, with both sides winning one game each this season. But the finals aren't about history. They're about, moments. They're about composure. They're about who wants it more. And the truth is, it all boils down to this. It all boils down to how Manchester United approach this game. It all boils down to, the one-off game, and how, we're willing to take full responsibility. And then basically, we're going to go to how Manchester United play under Rúben Amorim, as we've talked about severally in at different times and all of that. Now, under Rúben Amorim, United have become very tactically disciplined, albeit hasn't been showing in games, and fans are beginning to the fans' patience is beginning to wane. Right now, tactically disciplined, with an identity focused on balance, structured pressing, and fluid build-up and quick transitions. But on United often operates with a back three in possession, allowing wing-backs to push high up and create width, while Bruno Fernandes operates between the lines as our box-to-box or one of our 10s, as the case may be. Now, Amorim's team, and this Man United team, emphasizes on compactness in defense, limiting space in central zones. We also emphasize on quick vertical transition, especially with Garnacho and Bruno if they're playing as 2-10s, or if Mount is starting. And then in the midfield, we have control for players like Casemiro, and obviously a disruptor like Manuel Ugarte. And then with overloads, which is another feature that is emphasized by this Rúben Amorim style of play, is that we have overloads in the wide areas to stretch Spurs' high line, and that is very key, especially when Patrick Dogu pushes up, or when if Ahmad is starting, pushes up. But we're going to go to this Predator starting lineup. But this tactical chess match will likely see United soak up pressure and hit on the break, exploiting the gaps Spurs will leave when committing numbers forward. So it is very key, and our centre backs are very key in all of this, which will now lead us to the predicted starting lineup, which I had to think deep. I thought deep about this. I think I did this starting lineup since like 2 days ago now. I had to think deep, considering how Manchester United lined up against Chelsea. I was thinking, how can Manchester United line up? Because that is kind of like the blueprint as to how Manchester United is going to play against Spurs. But obviously, we're going to, and considering also the subs that Rúben Amorim kind of created, when he took off players and all of that, even when we're losing and stuff. Now, for the predicted starting lineup for Man United against Spurs, or Spurs against Man United in the Europa League Final, we're gonna go with Andre Onana in net. Obviously, there's no one else. Atabanda is not going to start this one. Harry Maguire, centre back, and then I thought about this. From semi-final, Victor Lindelof played as a right centre-back. Lenioro isn't back, and even if he's back, he probably won't be match fit or match ready, and that's what Rúben is trying to get from this team. So, Nusra Mazraoui in right centre-back, Luke Shaw in left centre-back, and then Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte in midfield. Casemiro, quick passing, quick transition, control, experience, and all of that. And then, obviously, Manuel Ugarte, disruptor. When they try to counter and all that, he has a pace to disrupt and all. That's why he played less in the Chelsea game. And then we have Ahmad and Dogu, two left-footed players playing on the left and the right. For Dogu on the left wing back, Ahmad on the right wing back. And then, obviously, for this one, he played less minutes in the last one. So Garnacho and Bruno Fernandes as our 2-10s. And then, against public opinion, Rasmus Højlund starts this one. And I know there's a reason why I feel like Højlund starts, because it's the game for him for redemption. So Højlund starts this one, and I would expect that he would get a goal in this final. Now, the key player for Manchester United against Spurs would be, obviously, Bruno Fernandes. Now, Bruno Fernandes has played 55 games this season. The final will be his 56th game, and the game against Aston Villa in the Premier League will be his 57th game. That is too many games for one player this season. Even their key player for Spurs hasn't played up to 50 games this season, even though he's been injured and just came back from a foot injury. But also, He's played 55 games, as I said, over 55 games, over 4,000 minutes, 19 goals and 19 assists and 17 assists. He's been doing it back to back. I think he scored the last game against Bilbao in the Europa League semi-final. Also, this game wouldn't go without mentioning other key players that could make remarkable impact in this game. And one of those key players is our X factor in this game, Amad Diallo. He has played 41 games this season, over 2,500 minutes. He has 10 goals and 8 assists. That is sick. 18 goal contributions this season, albeit he's been injured for about 3 months this season as well. He scored in the last game against Brentford and all of that for the 22-year-old Ivorian international, or our Ivorian Messi. Also, there are other key players in this, other key players that can make remarkable impact in this game, and I would not, this video would not be complete without mentioning a key player like Casemiro. Now, Casemiro, our key player, he goes by Carlos, his full name, it goes by Carlos Enrique Venancio Casemiro. Carlos Enrique Venancio Casemiro. This is your time. This is your season. This is the time for you to show what you're made of, with all the experience and everything in between. So Casemiro, key player for Man United, he's played 40 games this season. He has played over 2,500 minutes, and he has 5 goals and 2 assists, and all goals and assists came particularly in the Europa League. The last 2 games against Bilbao, he scored 2 goals, right? So he comes in key, comes in clutch for Manchester United against Spurs. Now, which leads me to my prediction. Basically, before we go to how Manchester United can win, my prediction would be that Manchester United will beat Spurs 4-1. It is reaching. It is very it is dreamy. It feels like I'm dreaming and reaching very high for the stars. But the truth is, I believe Manchester United are going to capitalize on Spurs' space behind the line and their defensive lapses, and we're going to win 4-1. And most of the goals are going to come in the second half, when they've really run and try to run. They don't have their key players like Maddison and Kulusevski to be a threat. I know Brennan Johnson is a threat, but I don't think that Jose Mazraoui will find it difficult handling obviously Son. And then Brennan Johnson, I'll leave it to Luke Shaw. And then obviously in center of the centre back, and Maguire has the experience in these kinds of things. He's been here before and can do it again, right? So now, if we're going to go by how Manchester United can beat Spurs today, because it's the final, I came up with 5 points. Now, to lift the trophy in Bilbao, Man United must exploit Spurs' high line with well-timed runs for Garnacho and Højlund. They should create spaces for Højlund behind the line. This is the kind of game that he thrives in, right? And then also control the midfield transitions using basically Bruno's creativity, as well as recently Casemiro's press resistance and Manuel Ugate's disruption. Control the midfield transitions, and then obviously if we are to go to number 3, we say we need to use our width wisely, especially with wing backs like Patrick Dogu and Ahmad, to create one-on-ones, especially because Spurs wing backs will always be inverted, right? So obviously you need to pin them, because the truth is when they push up, there's always space behind, and we need to also pin them. Maguire's passes can work, Bruno's quick passes can work, Casemiro's passes can work behind the line. If they play Garnacho on the right side of the 210s, obviously on the left side will be Bruno, right? But if he drops into mid, he can make those quick passes and then disrupt Spurs' attack. And then if we're to go with number 4, it will be that Spurs should be clinical. Man United should be clinical. Now, Spurs will always allow for chances, but they won't allow for many scored chances or many second chances. That will be because of their Christian Romero and Mickey van der Ven. Fast players, quick players, players that can, make things happen. Aggressive players as well, because I think that there's going to also be some controversial calls, especially with Romero, who always tends to do cause a foul in the box or handball or penalty or something. So United need to be clinical. Get a chance, pounce on it, finish it, and that's it. Next one will be to stay compact. Now, that is the fifth one. Stay compact when pressing. Don't be dragged out by Spurs' rotation. I mean, Bruno is one who always tends to, initiate the press, but he might also get dragged out. You never know. So we need to stay compact. Set pieces could also play a very crucial role, especially with Maguire in the team. And we have height advantage in key play areas. And the truth is, let's not forget, like that's why I mentioned him, Casemiro also is good in those set piece areas. Cross the ball in the box, put it on his head, he scores, and especially in that near post. So that is all about how Manchester United can beat Spurs. Now, to round this all up and to sum this all, this is the moment that defines our season. For Manchester United, it's about just finishing strong, showing resilience and delivering silverware under the new manager, Rúben Amorim. His tactical nous will be tested by Postecoglou's adventurous football, but the Red Devils also have the tools to hurt Spurs where it matters most. In the final, where small margins matter, discipline, intensity, and execution will decide the winner. If United stay focused and capitalize on Spurs' vulnerability, they can crown a turbulent season with a Europa League glory or Europa League trophy. Now, in truth, we need to, because the way we lost to Spurs in the last two games, especially in all three games that we've lost to them this season, has been horrendous, has been disastrous. Especially in one of the games where Bruno was given a red card that was not supposed to be a red, and then eventually, it all boils down to all of this and stuff. But let's, take this. We have a bone to pick with Spurs. We have the revenge, we have to revenge our losses to them this season and then build on it and, start to kind of, create a momentum to build into next season and all of that. Casemiro is going to be key. Ahmad is going to be key, as I said. And Bruno, also our goal scoring guy, is also going to be key. So we need to take full advantage and try to capitalize on this. So let me know your thoughts and feelings about this. Let me know your thoughts and feelings about predicted lineup. I had to think deep to think about what possible predicted lineup Manchester United will use against Spurs. And it all came down to the one I chose. So let me know your thoughts and feelings and we can build from there. I'll see you at the game. We're probably going to, not probably. Now we're going to live stream this game. We're going to not live stream, do a match watch along on TikTok, because it's easier to kind of do the setup and all of that. So we're going to do it on TikTok. If you can, please join us on TikTok for the live match watch along, and we're going to enjoy the game together and hopefully come back with a win. So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to Manchester United. Come on, United, let us do this. Let us end the season on a high and defeat Spurs, and then we know that we are headed into playing for another trophy in the trophy of the UEFA Super Cup. So let me know your thoughts and feelings, and I'll see you on the next one. Glory, glory, Man United. We're going to Bilbao, and then we will come back with the trophy. It is a must win. We have to win. We cannot lose. We will not lose. We have to win. It's win or win, right? So see you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye, and God bless.